Mangwana ni mwalelepo vukenjani klekwas dumelanga vanave Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning on the last day of the month, just a day before Workers' Day, May Day. However, we'll still be bringing you the show tomorrow. This is Africa Good Morning, the show that remains your portal into Africa's most potent stories. Later in the show, we will be joined by Ari Hochad as he delivers the South Africa report with a lot of potent stories stemming from there, particularly with regards to the immigration marches as well. But prior to that, these are some of the stories we'll be looking at from broader Africa. Africa's lowest fuel price rankings for April show mixed movements across key economies. Zimbabwe teachers issue 14-day ultimatum over salaries ahead of school reopening. Migrants urged to close shops as anti-immigration march sparks safety concerns in Pretoria, South Africa. Court orders deportation of Bellarmine Mugabe, the son of Robert Mugabe, following his firearm offense in Johannesburg. And William Ruto clarifies remarks after backlash over Nigerian English comments. That last top story is going to be a bit of a lighter note for us because we're going to have the two videos, the one where William Ruto made the statement and the one where he tried to explain the statement. And we'll be interested in knowing if our audiences spot the difference. Anyway, this is Africa Good Morning. We are absolutely excited to be taking you into the show, doing what we do best, talking about Africa on DSTV 285, GOTV 25, 1up2.com, NTVAFRIKA.MY.NA. My name is Ashwin Berry. Top stories shortly.
Namibia is a land of movement, with waves that never stop reaching forward. Here, adventure is not something we search for. It is something we are born into. In every corner of this country, creativity rises from artists, from athletes, from dreamers. And when the world comes to explore Namibia, they discover something extraordinary. Because when sport moves people, creativity moves ideas, and tourism moves the world toward us. Something powerful happens. A platform where movement meets imagination, where industries connect, where opportunity grows, where Namibia's next chapter begins. Welcome to the Creative Sport Tourism Expo. Exhibit, partner, experience. Creative sport tourism.
Now, getting into our top stories, low fuel prices continue to offer a significant, yet often overlooked advantage to African economies, particularly across industry, logistics and agriculture. In April 2026, the global average fuel price edged slightly upward from $1.48 to $1.49 per litre month to month. Within Africa, fuel prices declined in Algeria and Egypt, while Nigeria, Ethiopia, Tunisia and Niger recorded marginal increases. Libya, Angola and Sudan experienced no changes, maintaining previous pricing levels as Gabon entered the ranking, replacing Liberia. Gasoline remains central to economic functioning across the continent, influencing transport systems, energy supply and production costs. When prices drop, businesses benefit from reduced generator and transportation expenses, leading to more stable or lower prices for goods and services. Now, this helps ease inflationary pressure while increasing consumer purchasing power. Now we swing over to Zimbabwe, where teachers have given a 14-day ultimatum, exactly 14 days. This is with regards to their wishes. And they are demanding a review of their salaries within that context, warning that the reopening of schools next month could face disruption if no meaningful action is taken. The educators join other civil servants, including nurses, who have recently protested over wages. This growing dissatisfaction follows the government's April salary adjustments, which workers have dismissed as inadequate. In correspondence addressed to the Public Service Commission, the Educators Union of Zimbabwe expressed concern over the current salary framework. Secretary General Tapedza Zhou highlighted that the $320 uniform base across all grades reflects wage compression, while the ZIG component remains unstable and erodes real income. He further stated that the salary structure does not align with the cost of living, largely indexed in US dollars. African migrants in Pretoria, South Africa, have been urged to exercise heightened vigilance during anti-illegal immigration marches amid concerns over potential xenophobic attacks. Ghana's High Commission advised its nationals to close businesses and maintain a low profile, while the Nigerian Union of South Africa encouraged members to remain indoors. The warnings followed a protest involving hundreds of demonstrators marching towards the union buildings, with another planned in Johannesburg. Anti-migrant sentiment has gained political traction in recent years, with some citizens claiming foreigners take jobs and benefit unfairly from public services. President Cyril Ramaphosa cautioned against allowing such concerns to foster prejudice or hatred, referencing South Africa's historical reliance on support from other African nations during apartheid. Previous protests have sometimes escalated into violence, prompting calls for restraint. South Africa hosts approximately 2.4 million migrants, many from neighboring countries. Community members reported fear and harassment, noting profiling regardless of legal status. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres condemned xenophobic violence, warning that intimidation and incitement to hatred have no place in a democratic society, particularly given the country's history of international solidarity. And one of the debates is actually using the correct name, because what is understood is that these xenophobic attacks are strictly targeting Africans, black Africans in particular, and thus a lot of scholars are actually terming them Afrophobic attacks. We now move on to our next story. A Johannesburg court has ordered the immediate deportation of Bellarmine Mugabe, the youngest son of the late former Zimbabwean leader Robert Mugabe, following his guilty plea to firearm-related charges and illegal presence in South Africa. The 28-year-old admitted to pointing a firearm and being in the country unlawfully after his arrest earlier this month in connection with a shooting incident at Hyde Park residence. He was also fined 600,000 rand. His co-accused and cousin, Tobias Matonodze, received a 3-year prison sentence after pleading guilty to attempted murder, illegal immigration, ammunition possession, and defeating the ends of justice. The case stems from a February 19 incident in which a man working at the property was shot and hospitalized in critical condition. Prosecutors indicated the shooting followed a dispute among the individuals involved, with the victim shot outside while attempting to flee. All right, and as we know, Robert Mugabe's son, Bellarmine, did arrive in Zimbabwe last night after flying from OR Tambo Airport in South Africa. We do know that previously, when there were issues with regards to his brother in South Africa, the most dangerous vehicle of accountability became his mother, and one wonders how Grace Mugabe is going to be reacting to this ordeal. We'll certainly be paying attention, and thankfully we have Talent Gore in Zimbabwe to give us some updates should any arise. Now, Kenyan President William Ruto has responded to criticism following remarks suggesting Nigerian accented English was difficult to understand. Speaking at a mining conference in Nairobi attended by Nigeria's Minerals Minister Henry Dele Alake, Ruto stated his earlier comments had been taken out of context and were intended to highlight that Africans speak very good English. His remarks, originally made to Kenyans in Italy, had triggered widespread backlash and online debates between Kenyans and Nigerians. At the conference, Alake humorously addressed the issue, stating Nigerians speak good English, prompting laughter from attendees. Ruto reiterated that his comments were meant as a comparison of English proficiency across African countries. And we would like you, our viewers, to do your own assessment. Here are the initial comments William Ruto made just before we talk about his recent comments.
Kenyans, our education is good. Our English is good. Yes, we speak some of the best English in the world. Yeah, that is true. If you listen to a Nigerian speaking, you don't know. You need a translator, even when they are speaking English, So with some of the best human capital anywhere in the world, and we just need to sharpen it with more training.
So those were his exact words. And now this is his response to the criticism.
Please pass my regards, Minister, to President Tinubu, my friend, and to the great people of Nigeria who are my in-laws, and do so in good English. And, I was captured, I was speaking to my fellow citizens somewhere, and somebody, it was supposed to be a private conversation, but somebody decided that it should be public. But they also misrepresented the facts. The facts are that I was talking about how we in Africa speak very good English, all of us. In fact, in some countries like Nigeria, if you don't speak excellent English like the one we speak in Kenya, you may need a translator, for you to understand the excellent English of Nigeria. So that was the comparison, but somebody decided to take it out of context.
Well, some doctors administer medicine, others spin narratives. Those have been our top stories on Africa Good Morning. Shortly, we'll be joined by Adi Hohad from South Africa. All right, it's time for us to get the news stories from Adi Hohad as he reports on the current affairs, including the Minister of Finance, Enoch Godongwana, confirming the fuel and diesel levy relief, and South Africa's largest retail bank continuing to invest heavily in AI integration.
In current news in South Africa, it is related to the fuel price first, and good news for the consumer. Government extended the general fuel levy reduction, and that's for another month in South Africa. That's obviously to ease the effect of the big fuel price and diesel price that is expected to rise again in the month of May in South Africa. So it's a good news for the consumer, but not good news for the government. The reason is that they're losing the money actually in a way, or they're losing it definitely in terms of money that was budgeted and not coming into the national treasury. So the effect of that is that 17.2 billion South African rand is not going to the South African national treasury. That is over the 2 months because of the fuel levy that is cut for the consumer to have it better because of the high fuel price. So the Minister of Finance, Mr. Enoch Godongwana, and he said that he will halve the relief after the June the 2nd. He will start with that, and then phasing it out before the end of July. So at the moment, what's happening, the effect is that there's 3 rand less that the South African consumer pay per litre for petrol, and it is going to be till the 2nd of June, of course. And then for diesel, it is 3 rand 93 that's taken off the price of diesel for the month, and there's no levy charged at the moment for diesel then, but there's still a levy of 1 rand and 10 cents that is charged for petrol. So that is good relief for South Africa. Then continuing the current news in South Africa, it's related to Capitec Bank, and Capitec Bank is South Africa's biggest retail bank, and it's investing more heavily into AI, and that's been showing in the money that's been spent on AI at the Capitec Bank the last year. So at the moment, it is related to AI, to OpenAI, and of course also ChatGPT that started in 2022. So at the moment, Capitec's got 26 million users or clients in South Africa. So it's a big bank, South Africa's biggest retailer, like I said. And then also it spent lots of money on AI already. So it spent 2.5 billion. That was the past year, but now it's up to 3 billion South African rand that is spent on AI. And that is to better the experience for Capitec customers. So how it's going to be used, and firstly, what the Capitec said was they're building a responsible AI framework, and that is to unlock value for the customers. That is what Capitec said. And the value that will be added is a real-time fraud prevention. That is where AI will come to the best or come to the fore. And then also it is for risk modeling of clients and also the markets, and then also to upskill the employees. So big investments coming up for Capitec, or they're improving the investments on AI. That is Capitec Bank. And then to close off the current news in South Africa, it's got to do with housing in South Africa. And so that's for the needy, for people that is living under the breadline. And then also there's big unemployment still in South Africa, more than 33% at the moment. So there's 3.7 million households that's on the list for the National Department of Human Settlement, and that is for them to get houses. And so there's a budget in Cape Town for 2.8 billion South African rand for the year, and that is for 440 applicants. That is in Cape Town alone. But the problem is it's a slow process. So in the last 5 years, only 12,400 houses have been handed over to applicants. And so Cape Town doing best. That is in Cape Town, 12,500. In the best next to that is Equaleni, and that is 5,500 houses in the last 5 years. So it's a big problem for South Africa, twofold. It is money that's not available, and the process of obtaining ground and doing the work is also going slow. So apparently there is 107,000 new applicants annually that's coming to the list of 3.7 million. So it's a big need in South Africa, and hopefully the South African government can get enough funds in, and also to speed up the process to have more houses in the hands of the needy. So that is current news in South Africa at the moment.
All right, now we're swinging over into the sport with Adi Hogad. The Proteas have a lot to prepare for, and Orlando Pirates taking my team on, Mamelodi Sundowns.
In sport news in South Africa, we go to cricket first. The South African women's cricket team, they're preparing for the World Cup, the T20 World Cup that will start in England and Wales. That is in a few weeks' time. So South African women's team had good preparation. They played 5 T20 internationals against India. India is the defending champions, and South Africa won that series by 4-1. So good preparation. Will be playing at home, but still they show that they have the talent to go far into the tournament. They've played in the previous final of the T20 World Cup as well. So it is Laura Wolfhard. She's the captain of the South African team, and she's been batting well as well in the series against India. She scored 150 15 in one of the games, also 92 unbeaten runs in the last game. So she's in form for the tournament. So the tournament in England, the T20 Women's World Cup, there will be two groups. There's 12 teams playing. Both groups, each group is 6 teams. South Africa in Group 1, that is with Australia and India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and the Netherlands. So a strong group there playing against Australia and India again. And then Group 2 will be England, New Zealand, West Indies, Sri Lanka, Ireland, and Scotland. So exciting cricket on the way. So the first game will be on the 12th of June. That will be England playing against Sri Lanka. The next day, the 13th of June, South Africa open their tournament. And they will play against Australia in their first game of the tournament. More sports news is the PSL Soccer League in South Africa, and it is still Orlando Pirates just ahead on the points list. They've got 59 points after 26 games. Mamelodi Sundowns, the defending champion, on 58 after 25 games, and then Kaizer Chiefs on 47 after 25 games in third position. So it's Mamelodi Sundowns that won the previous 7 tournaments or seasons, the PSL title, and it is a few games coming up. The 3rd of May, it's Mamelodi Sundowns at home against Polokwane City in Pretoria at Loftus Versfeld. And then it is Stellenbosch United that will play at home against Orlando Pirates. That will be the 5th of May, 7:30, that kick-off. And then a big one is the 6th of May. It is next week, Wednesday. It will be Mamelodi Sundowns at home against Kaizer Chiefs. And that will also be played at Loftus Versfeld with a kick-off at 7:30. So Mamelodi Sundowns trying to win another title. They've been the dominant force in South African Premier League football in South Africa. So that is sport news in South Africa.
Now, Ari, tell us about the West Coast town of Darling, as well as Darling Cellars. What a charming name.
In entertainment news in South Africa, we go to the little town called Darling, and it is 75 kilometers from Cape Town. And it is founded in 1853, but a popular visit for South Africans, for people from Cape Town, and for tourists to visit. And the town has got just 12,300 people, but there's a big farming community around it. And it was started in the beginning of the 18th century with 29 farmers that started to live there on the Groenkloof farm there. And it is named after Sir Charles Henry Darling. But what you can do in Darling when you visit there, firstly go to the Darling Museum, and it's the history there of Darling and the region is there to see. And specifically also a large collection of antique agriculture machines that you can see there at the Darling Museum. Then also it's the wildflowers. It's known for wildflowers, that region of the Western Cape. And it is since 1917, the annual Darling Wildflower Show is one of the draw cards for tourists in South Africa, and also Capetonians that go there for weekends for that. But that wildflower show is normally in the beginning of spring. So that is early September every year annually. Then also it's known for the first place to have wind farms. And so wind farms was a new site 10, 15 years ago. And it is obviously to do with the generating of electricity. So there's good wind that's blowing through Darling, and that's assisting the wind farms quite a lot as well. Then also lots to do over weekends in Darling. So it's a popular destination to drive through for the weekend. And there's lots of musical festivals as well, and it is from traditional music and also from jazz concerts as well. So it is known for great restaurants as well, Darling. So you can visit there for the whole Saturday and the weekend to stay over. Great accommodation also in Darling, a great town to visit. But then also they've got great wine as well. So Darling Cellars is from 1948 already. So it's known for bush wine, and the bush wine is known because it's 95% dry land. That is what you have from grapes from Darling Cellars. So it's unirrigated. So a brilliant wine there at the Darling Cellars to try. And some of the wine to try there at the Darling Cellars is the Sauvignon Blanc, also the Chenin Blanc, and the Chardonnay. That is some of the white wines and red wines. There's a Pinotage, also Cinsault and Shiraz. Brilliant wines at Darling Cellars. So Darling, a great place to visit in the Western Cape. So that is entertainment news in South Africa.
You always have to make time for Cape Town. Thank you for joining us on DSTV 285, GOTV 25, 1up2.com, NTVAFRIKA.MY.NA on the last day of the month. Tomorrow is May Day, Workers' Day, and we certainly would like to wish all the workers a happy Workers' Day, as well as those seeking employment. May that come to fruition soon. But we will be here giving you an Africa Good Morning show, my relaxation doesn't really count because I get it from being on the show. Tomorrow it is. Cheers.